Question 29c from the sports medicine option has asked students to analyse the considerations that need to be taken by children, young athletes, female athletes and their coaches when participating in sport. This question was worth 12 marks. Some things here in this question we need to look at. Obviously we need to do the analyse. We need to look at the considerations that need to be taken by children and young athletes, female athletes and the coach when participating in sport. Alright, so that's what the question is asking us to do. It's worth 12 marks. So we need to look at the syllabus dot point. Straight away we're going to notice when we have a look down here that we're looking at, we have children and young athletes. So medical conditions, overuse, injuries, thermoregulation and appropriateness of resistance training. They need to be included. As well as female athletes. We need to be mentioning eating disorders, iron deficiency, bone density and pregnancy. They're the areas that need to be included. They're the considerations between the two parts of the syllabus. They're the considerations that need to be included for both children and young athletes and female athletes that need to be considered when participating in sport. So there's a few dot points here that need to be included and covered. If we look at this response here, it's a poor response, and the reasons being is it just lacks content. Appropriateness of resistance training. Okay, well that's in there as a dot point and an example, a little bit of information. We then move on to the use of protective equipment. Right, and if we turn over the page, which again now is this, for me this is a question mark on why that will be in there. All right, and then we go over the page and we have a look at, for a 12 mark answer, there's not enough content being included here. Size and skill, again I'd be questioning and saying, why is this in there? I don't know what part of the syllabus that would relate to. So it's just a lack of knowledge of the syllabus, a lack of content, just a poor answer in total. Right, we then might progress to a better answer. And straight away, the first thing that you notice from a marking point of view, which needs to be emphasised for all students, we have the eating disorders part here, iron deficiency, bone density and pregnancy, this aspect of the syllabus, which relates to the female athletes. We also have the medical conditions, overuse injuries, thermoregulation and appropriateness of resistance training that relates to children and young athletes. So the two aspects of the syllabus that need to be included in this answer have been given. Straight away that's what I've noticed, and that's outstanding to see. That just shows to me that the person completing this answer has an understanding of the syllabus content and where the answer needs to be coming from. When we go down and look at the answer, again, the structure and the setting out. First of all, children and young athletes, which we know is going to relate back to here. Okay? Well, sorry, I should be saying this one over this side. Sorry. So children and young athletes. Looking at medical conditions. And that's what the person's gone through and looked at straight away. Medical conditions. Given some examples, relate it back to asthma. Okay? So this is an answer which comes from the syllabus, which is, again, just shows the level of understanding. This goes over the page. Okay, continues on with asthma, medical conditions, the considerations that need to be included by the coach. Diabetes, gives an example. Progresses on to epilepsy. Moves on to overuse injuries. Okay, another aspect of the syllabus, looking here at the stress fractures part, with more examples included. Okay, again, the setting out can't be faulted. It's all in front of us. Turn over the page again. We continue here. We move through to thermoregulation up the top here. Thermoregulation. Appropriateness of resistance training. Okay, with examples being included for each. Example for thermoregulation included. We then move on to the female athletes, which was the first group of dot points which we were given. Okay? Talks about some of the different things they might possess, eating disorders. And it gives some examples of how that could impact on it. We then look at iron deficiency, again, straight from the syllabus. Okay? Bone density and also pregnancy. So they're the four parts for the female athlete need to be included. Examples were given for both. All right, this answer has got a mark of 10 out of 12. It's probably lacked a little bit of the analysis aspect. So it's been able to go through and include all areas of the syllabus, but what it hasn't done to get that full 12 marks was probably tie in the analysis from the considerations that need to be considered when coaching these different people. So what's the analysis between the consideration that needs to be included and also the impact that it might have in participating in sport? All right, so the examples were given but may not really have been analysed enough or shown the link or the relationship between them. But still a very good answer, well structured and well set out, all areas included. Okay, just looking at the marking guidelines, if we turn over the page here, okay, you'll just notice that one aspect I want you to be mindful of here is the two parts of the dot point, which I've already gone through and shown. Children and young children, all right, young athletes, and even the female athletes. So there's the two parts that need to be included, which we saw in our better response. Thing to remember here is that an analysis will consist of the consideration and the implication of each and ways the individual can participate safely. For example, all asthmatic children should have an asthma management plan. Asthmatic children are encouraged to swim because of the cardio benefit. It encourages deep breathing, and the air being breathed in just above the water is already warmed and humidified, reducing the chances of an asthma attack. That's the analysis aspect there, which is showing. Okay, just some of the feedback that needs to be looked at here was that, again, quite positive in the responses given by students, so overall very well done. In general, this question was answered quite well. Students were able to clearly identify the sports medicine considerations for children and young athletes and female athletes. So the two aspects of the syllabus were able to be included, which is pleasing. Most students were able to describe these considerations and provide some examples. That's where they've lost their marks, or haven't gained them, sorry. Remember, in order to analyse, students need to illustrate the relationship between sports medicine considerations and athletes, of which most students, I think, were able to do. And they did this quite well. And also relate the implications of these considerations for the coach and athlete in terms of their participation. That's the part that students struggle with. Not all students were able to clearly illustrate the implications for the coach and or the athlete, failing to acknowledge these areas. Better responses did this well and were able to articulate these much clearer.